Sagittarius, so this is your story. Is this shaking? I always do that. This is your story. Super interesting reading with these cards. So much fun. I've been sitting here with the messages and the energies. So let's start. First, we start with the shadow card. So what is going on right now is that you are getting to see what we call the shadow parts of ourselves, the dark parts of ourselves. And they look like bullet wounds to me here, bullet holes on this card when I first looked at them. Right now, when the card came out, see that? It looked like bullet wounds. Which is interesting because usually our shadow self, it's been heavily promoted out there that we should kill it or destroy it, which is not completely one of my beliefs, but so we have everything here. We have darkness, we have light, we have gray, we got back to black over here, and then bullet wounds all around. So you're getting to see wounded parts of yourself, or parts of yourself that we might consider to be less than pleasant about ourselves. And to me, you're just getting to see which parts of you we describe as, you know, facades or masks or false identities. But what it really feels like it's saying to me is that you are actually looking at parts of yourself, of your shadow self, that are both dark and destructive, or that you can use for your benefit in your life. You know, the ego is not all bad. Having a mask on is not always all bad, depending on the situation. And so it very much feels like you're looking at your shadow side, and you're figuring out which parts of you you can use healthfully and which parts of you are just dark, and you should know perhaps not to make those choices as much. And then the next two cards, the next card that came out was the Destroyer and the Offering. And so it feels to me like you're looking at these parts of yourself, or your shadow self, that you are thinking, oh, I should stop making as many of these choices, or I could use this part of my shadow, of my ego, in a healthy way. And here it is in the next two cards. What it's telling me is you can use these parts of yourself to do damage, or to offer as a positive thing for people. And look, if you put the shadow and the shadow aspect in the Destroyer, kind of has that same feel, almost the same energy. And then you put the mask and the Offering together, and look at that, sort of has the same energy too, dark and colors all around. So it feels to me like you're figuring out which parts of your ego are healthy and which part of your ego are more destructive, not only to yourself and to others. And this journey that you're going in, and this discovery that you're doing about yourself, is actually helping you become the king archetype. And to me, in this context, I haven't shown you all the cards yet, but in this context, it's telling me that, for example, as a king, you have to know when to call your people for battle, to go to war, and so you know you're sacrificing your own people for the protection of others. Or as a king, your duty is to keep the kingdom healthy and prosperous, making sure that you make all the best decisions to keep the village or the country or the whatever it is that you, the symbolism of being a king of. So this could be going on in your family, in your group of friends, in your work space. But it feels so much to me like this is going on within yourself. You are figuring out how to become this figure who knows when to use these parts of you from your shadow parts, from your shadow self, when to use your ego in a healthy way, like a king would, to protect and provide and keep the kingdom safe, your job, your family, your friends, you know what I mean by kingdom, and when to sort of perhaps use them in a more destructive way, or not use them in a destructive way, or put your people at risk, or take a risk, or that kind of thing, for the greater good. Now, hi, Ferric. All right. The animal spirit cards that came out were an absolute delight for me, because let me show you. There's 4 here. As long as you don't bother me, that's fine. The first one that came out was the owl spirit. The second that came out was the bat spirit. The third one was the wasp spirit, which were all flying animals and insects. Come on. Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, there you go. They all have the ability to fly. They're all very much air creatures. And then the last card that came out is the rabbit spirit. But look at it. In this card, it has little wings made out of almost what look like leaves to me. It's a rabbit with wings, more flying, more airy energy, which to me says that this is very much of a mental process. You're very much in your mind space when you're discovering and when you're rearranging and you're figuring these things out about yourself. And so the owl spirit says, you see clearly now. I love this so much. You see clearly now, and so now I feel like you see clearly now. It's above the shadow card, but it just feels to me like you know which parts of you are beneficial, and you know which parts of you are destructive. The bad spirit, a rebirth is assured, and so the rebirth to me is saying you can become this archetype figure, this knowing when to go to battle, knowing when to not go to battle, how to provide, all that kind of thing, how to protect. Sometimes life stings, and this is above the destroyer card, and sometimes we do, and sometimes kings do have to make that choice to sacrifice their own people to go to war. Somebody's got to sign up. I mean, I just worked on the movie Mulan, so I have that in my head. The emperor had one man for each family had to sign up to go to war, and so it just reminded me now when I saw this king card that sometimes you have to make that choice. You have to sacrifice a part of your people for the greater good to protect the nation. And then rabbit spirit here with these wings, it says now is a lucky time. But to me, it just feels like, to me, rather than what it's saying in this card, to me it just feels more like this is happening very, very fast. And I'm an air sign, I'm a Libra, and I always feel like all of this airy energy, all of these flying animals, it always feels very fast to me. So to me this is saying this is all happening very fast for you. And then here we have from the Shaman Oracle, the arrow again. More air energy for me, and it's this talks to me about clarity, being able to discern these parts of you and categorize them and knowing when to use them. And sometimes you have to be straight to the point, and it's quick and it's directive, is that a word? Excuse my English. It's just fast. It's just when you know which parts of you to use and what to use them for, you make that decision quickly. Again, the idea, the symbolism here that this is telling me this is happening very quickly. And there is another card in the animal deck that says life is speeding up, but for me this combination over here is telling me this is happening very fast, and I believe these decisions that you're learning to make, to these parts of you that you're learning to use, and how you're becoming so good at it that you're able to make them in a jiffy. I don't usually talk like that, I guess. And again, here we have the Hunter card, which to me always comes out, always feels aggressive, and it does at this moment too. We have a bear here, we have more wings and more air animals, more flying animals. But it's just, it always feels very aggressive to me. Like the hunter, I always mention a hunter back in those hunter gathering days in these villages. If your job was to go and hunt and provide food for the village, and you came back without any food, it was almost a source of shame for you, like a symbol that you weren't able to provide for your people. So this is another, for a lot of you, this could be happening specifically in your family situation, especially now with all the coronavirus pandemic and crisis going on. This is probably why this makes me feel like everything's happening so fast, is because of all the lockdowns that are going on. And now perhaps you have a stronger feel of you being the provider and the one that needs to make these decisions that are safer for the whole family. And usually this is a symbol of, and it still is, it's not usually, it still is transformation. And to me, a serpent is always positive, and this is positive too. And look, there's more wings here in this image, more wings, more wing symbolism, more air symbolism. But do you see how this serpent has, I don't know why it feels like it's one serpent, and I can see here the tail, and these are two serpents. There's one facing up, and then there's one facing down over here. But to me, it just feels like one serpent. This is you, and again, you have to make these complete opposite decisions sometimes. Are you going to use these aspects of you to be destructive, or are you going to use these aspects of you as a blessing? These decisions, these hard, harsh, quick decisions from the ego space. And there's nothing, the ego is not really the enemy here. It's just knowing when to pipe it down and knowing when and how to use it in a healthy way. And to me, this is it. This is your transformation, is to understand. You're understanding exactly how these parts of you are not all negative, when to use it. This is very exciting. And as a final card, this is telling me that this transformation, these realizations, this aspect of you that you're learning and discerning and experiencing and working with at the moment, this is your magic. This is your superpower. At least for the time being, making the decisions, being this way, being able to think quick and fast and make the best decisions you possibly can is your superpower. And I see more wing symbolism. More wings, more flies. So to me, it's very airy. It's a very airy reading. And I mean, I love it. I'm an air sign, and I resonate very much with the air energy. But here we go. So that's what I have for you. This is your superpower. Congratulations. I'm very excited. This is awesome. All right, and I'll see you next time.